Well, it's so cool to have you back. As I mentioned, you're playing the McMinimans Mission Theater tonight here in Portland. Who are you out on the road with this time?
Myself.
All right.
Well,
Look at
and
that.
Hade, who's opening for me.
And Hade. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I don't know much about Hade. Can you tell me about Hade?
He's great. He's a like singer-songwriter, and he's from the Midwest too, so we can relate on a lot of boring things.
Speaking of the Midwest, you're originally from Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a small, boring town that you grew up in, or pretty exciting?
It was like a suburb out of Indianapolis. It wasn't a boring town. It was a pretty decent size.
Sure.
But
But boring enough to eventually move to Nashville, basically.
yeah, like 18 years of that, you're like, okay.
Yeah, you're kind of done with that.
Yeah.
Moving to Nashville, did you do that as a conscious decision for music, or did you just kind of want to get out of Indiana for a change of pace? How did that work, Sarah?
At the time, I definitely was like working on my songwriting, and I wasn't like confident enough to fully move just to do music. So I was like, I need to at least be going to college. So I moved for college.
Okay.
But within the back of my mind, like, I hope that music like works out though.
Yeah, well, I mean, of all cities, Nashville that's
Yeah.
certainly a city to be in for music. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So going back a few years, musically for you, you first started playing guitar at the age of, I guess it was 11 or 12, about that time?
Yeah. I was singing growing up, and my mom got me a guitar when I was 11, I think.
That's so cool when a parent makes the active decision to give their child a musical instrument. I mean, she didn't want to give you drums or anything like super loud like that, right?
Of course not.
Here you go, make a whole lot of noise. And so you started with the guitar, and you also play ukulele.
Yeah.
What other instruments do you enjoy? Are those sort of the two main focuses for you?
Those are definitely the two main ones, and my voice.
Nice, nice. The ukulele, I actually talked with Tyler Joseph of 21 Pilots some years ago. Yeah, he's super cool. But I asked him about the ukulele because he plays that as well, as you know. And I asked him what he liked about it, and he said, well, it's super small and it's portable and you can play it pretty much anywhere. Do you agree? Is that kind of like the attraction to that instrument?
Yeah, like if I go on a trip or something and I want to bring an instrument, it's definitely the ukulele, because you can just put it, like on a plane, you can just put it up in the bins easily, and they don't give you a fuss about it.
You can take it down and play for the audience,
Yeah,
like when you're on a
totally.
plane, that sort of thing. You know, during turbulence, calm people down, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You have 2 EPs out right now, Struck by Lightning and Camera Shy.
Yeah.
Those are great because with your songwriting, Sarah, you speak from the heart. You talk about things that really impact you as a person, and that's something that I know all of us can identify with. Like, we'll hear lyrics of a song, like, oh man, I was chosen last too, you know, stuff like that. Like, oh, I didn't like math in high school either, you know, things like that. When you're putting together songs for these EPs, do you consciously choose sort of the flow to tell a story overall, or do you just throw them in willy-nilly? How does that work exactly with your writing?
So far, I mean, the past like couple years, I've just been writing songs and releasing singles, and then they kind of became EPs. But luckily, like, I feel like they did end up having a lot of similar themes throughout.
Sure.
Like my Struck by Lightning accidentally has like 3 songs that have a car theme within them somehow.
Okay.
And yeah, Camera Shy is a lot about being like left out and chosen last, and just not being okay.
Do you look back on those now that they've been out for some time and think to yourself, things are better now? Like, I can sort of shift my focus a little bit, or are all these things still very much a part of your soul and sort of your songwriting process?
You mean have I gotten better, or sorry?
Well, we're all working on getting better, you know. No, is there like a shift in focus as to what you're looking at, or are you still speaking very much from the heart about a lot of things that are personal to you? Like, would you ever write about someone in the third person, for example?
Yeah, I feel like I do that sometimes if I'm stuck on what to write about. Usually, especially with being on tour now, it's hard to find time to write. So when I do, like in times like these, I know what I'm going to write about because I've been waiting to be able to find time for it. But if I'm in a season where I'm writing a lot, then sometimes I do. Like, I have this older song called Rich Boy that's like I'm writing it from my perspective, but it's totally just a random story that I made up about somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to do that sometimes.
So someone's not going to hear it and go, wait a minute, she's talking about me. Or they could, and they could assume it's about them, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You've been out on tour for a short time now, and you've already had some excitement. You had an issue at the border not long ago.
Oh, gosh,
the bus broke down. I mean, there have been some exciting sort of things going on. What have been sort of like the better parts of touring so far, would you say? Aside from the border and the bus breakdown. Well, or maybe those were fun things. I don't know.
Those weren't fun things.
Okay, they were not fun.
I think we're past that. We had like 3 days where things kept going wrong, but I think we're finally past that.
Awesome.
I've just loved being able to play shows that are like all my fans, because everyone's just singing a lot. It hits different than opening for somebody for sure.
I understand you've been taking the time to hug fans out in front of your shows. What is it, like the first dozen people or so that get there?
Just because I feel like people who get there so early, I'm like, I feel like I need to give you something. Like,
that is so cool. I have not really heard of someone doing that. I've taken the time to go out and meet the fans beforehand and give them a hug. I mean, people have just got to be super, super stoked about that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think I went on tour with Alec Benjamin last month, and at some of the shows, like if there were people who got there really early, he would let some of them in to watch sound check, and I just kind of got that idea from him. I thought it was really cool.
I think you're onto something. I think more musicians need to do this. I think they need to go out beforehand and give fans a hug before they go into their shows. That's a really great thing. Well, speaking of shows, we are super thrilled to have you here today. We'll see you tonight as well at the McMenamins Mission Theater.
Are you going?
Yeah, we'll be there.
Woo.
Yeah. Excellent. We're looking forward to it. So again, Sara Kays at the PNC Live Studio here at KINK. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming and playing. Appreciate it.
Thank you.